Okay, so this video is on simplifying radicals. And let's just go over first what a radical is. A radical looks like this. This is the radical symbol. And anything under the radical is called the radicand. And then there's always a number here. If there's not a number written, then it's automatically a 2, meaning a square root. But a 3 would be a cube root. A 4 after that is just called a fourth root, and so forth. So you can have any number of radical. It doesn't have to be a 2 or a 3. It can be a 7, the seventh root, but they all get done the same way. So let's just do an example, and hopefully it'll make sense. If we do the square root, again, notice there's no number there, so this is a square root of 8. What you're really going to do is do a factor tree like you did in like 6th grade. So you're going to break 8 down into 2 numbers that multiply to give you 8. The only one that would not help you is if you chose 1 and 8. 1 and 8 is not going to help you. 1 and 7, 1 and 12, don't choose 1. Choose 2 different numbers, like 4 and 2, because 4 times 2 gives me 8. 2 can't break down into anything other than 1 and 2. Like if I break this down, all I'm going to get is 1 and 2. But we don't want that. Don't break it down any further if that's all you're going to get. But 4 will break down. 4 is also 2 and 2. And so now notice that I have 2 times 2 times 2. And if I put that in my calculator, I can check that I've actually done it correctly. 2 times 2 times 2, it does give me 8. So if you can see that, 2 times 2 times 2 does equal 8. So I know that I'm right. And you should always check yourself to make sure that you didn't lose any numbers in the factor trees. Sometimes kids will drop off numbers, and when they rewrite them over here, they don't have all the numbers. So once you get to this point, check yourself to make sure that it actually does multiply to give you your original number. Because the index, that's what this is called. This is called the index. Let's write that down. Because the index is 2 on a square root, we are searching for groups of 2. So let's write that down. We're searching for groups of 2. Or pairs, if you want to talk about it like that. So I've got a pair of 2's. And then this one's by itself. It doesn't have another 2 to pair up with it. And that's fine. Once I find a group of 2, then that group comes out front. So this pair of 2's is going to come out and be in front of the radical, while this 2 will stay behind. So when I rewrite it, I'm going to rewrite it down here. So that this pair is going to come out front, and this 2 gets left behind. And that's the final answer. The square root of 8 is 2 square roots of 2. And that's how we're going to say it, and we're going to write that down. To say this out loud, you say 2 square roots of 2. Whatever's out front, 2 square roots of 2. Let's try another one. Let's do the square root of 12. So again, we're going to be looking for groups of the same number. 12 could be 6 and 2. It could be 3 and 4. And it could be 1 and 12, but 1 and 12 does not help us, so we don't want to use that one. Let's just use 3 and 4. But we could have used 6 and 2, and we would have gotten to the same answer. 3 does not break down anymore, but 4 will. 4 will break down into 2 times 2. And then this does not break down any further. So once we got them with our prime, I circle them, and that way I know I don't need to break those down anymore. So I'm going to rewrite 2 times 2 times 3. And it's easier if you write them in order from least to greatest. It helps you with your pairing. Notice that I have a pair of 2's. So that pair is going to come out front, but the 3 will have to stay behind. So the answer is 2 square roots of 3. Let's try another one. Let's see. How about the square root of 32? All right, I don't know if I have enough room. I think I might rewrite this on the next page. If you have room, that's fine. I don't think I have enough room. Okay, so the square root of 32. So if you don't know your multiplication charts, if you don't know your multiplication facts, you can use your multiplication chart. I'll show you how to use it in this setting, if I can find it. Well, I don't know where it is. There it is. Okay. All right, so look for 32 in the body. Oh, there it is. Okay, here's 32. 32 is 4 times 8. So we could use that one. And then, of course, each of these will break down. Neither one of them is prime. So 4 will break down into 2 and 2. And 2 is prime, so I can circle that. 8, we've already done this before, so 4 will break down again into 2 and 2. So notice I have 5 2's. All right, I'm looking for pairs, so I have a pair of 2's here, and I have a pair of 2's here. So I have 2 2's that are going to come out. So this one's going to come out, and this one's going to come out. So what I really have is 2 times 2 square roots of 2. Because this one came out front, but so did this one come out front. Anything that comes out front gets multiplied. If I had more than one number inside, it would also get multiplied. So this is 4 square roots of 2. Final answer. If I was doing cube roots, I'll show you that. Maybe it'll make sense. If I was doing cube roots, I would be looking for groups of 3 instead of groups of 2. So let's try, let's see. Okay, let's do this, the cube root of 54. Well, 54, if I look at my multiplication chart, is actually 6 times 9. Okay, 6 times 9. This helps if you know your multiplication facts, but even if you don't know it, you do have tools that you can use. You could also just take 54 and start dividing it by things. 54 divided by 2, 54 divided by 3, and then you could use 2 times 27 or 3 times 18, and you could just see, start dividing it by certain numbers. You don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work, but you can just guess and check until you find something that you want to use. But 6 and 9 are fine. So 6 will break down into 2 times 3, and both of those are prime. 9 will break down to 3 times 3, and both of those are prime. So when I rewrite 54, I have 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. And I'm going to check that and make sure that I'm right. So 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. And sure enough, it does equal 54. So all I did was just put in my calculator what I have underneath my radical, And I'm just verifying that it does multiply to get back to 54. So that way I haven't made any mistakes. But because I'm doing the cube root, notice the index here is 3. I'm looking for groups of 3. So I am searching for groups of 3, like triples. So I do have 3 3s here. And so that 3 is going to come out front. And the 2 has to stay behind. So to say this out loud, it'd be 3 cube roots of 2. So whatever the index is, that's the group number that you're looking for. And once you find a group of 3, and it doesn't have to be the number 3, it could have been 4 times, well, it could have been 7 times 7 times 7, or 11 times 11 times 11. It wouldn't have mattered. Just as long as the 3 numbers are the same, then they come out front, and that becomes your leading number here. All right, the next video will be working out examples from your assignment. Make sure you take good notes and ask questions when you have them.